What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Empire Network. This is your boy Freddie. This is another episode of Freddie Facts. I mean, don't we have a special one for you on today? Anytime I'm blessing the screen, that means it's going to get fire. Matter of fact, I think we need to make sure I'm on all shows because it's going to be the best show of all time because you're talking about the GOAT. And yes, this is another episode of Freddie Facts, and I will be your host. But I have one of the best panels of all time in sports. I'm joined by my brother Kyle. What's going on, brother?
Hey man, what's going on? Hey, anytime I can come on Freddie Facts and make sure you don't get too much out in the woods with some of your stuff, I gotta come on.
You best believe anytime I am on, it's going to get crazy. No matter, nobody's going to keep me in check. Let's get that out the way. Nobody. And it's been a while since I was able to educate, school, teach this young man a few lessons. My brother William, what's going on, bro?
Nut, man, and I don't know what you talking about educate. I'm older than you. So get ready to get that lesson today, son.
Well, I don't know if you ever heard of the saying, sometimes even the old folks can learn from the young bucks. And this is
sometimes there's sometimes the father becomes the son.
Yeah, you got that right. The
That's right. I'm gonna have to show you something today, my friend.
So you
but, it's an honor, but I'm gonna say this: it's an honor to be here because me and you haven't done this in a minute, so it's an honor to be here, man.
Yes, sir. And like always, this is the guy that he say that I don't get under his skin. I mean, I don't think he took his medicine this morning or this afternoon. He been up since last night because Houston had a great draft, so he been up all night. So he probably ain't taking his medicine. So I want to welcome Coach Dante to the set.
24 hours, 7 days a week. I'm here.
What's up, Coach?
What's good?
Yeah, we know you here. That's why I'm saying that I'll go a little bit easy on you today, Coach. I won't educate you too hard. I won't get under your skin that tough. But let's get to the biggest news out of this week, I believe, is, we knew Bradley Beal for Chris Paul. We knew about that trade. We knew about it. We knew. We was just all wondering, where will Chris Paul end up going? Will it be the Clippers? Will it be the Lakers? Ladies and gentlemen, was we up for a surprise? It was the Golden State Warriors. And I must say, this isn't as scary as I thought as it normally be with Golden State. Because normally when it's Golden State, they make big splashes, like getting a Kevin Durant, and then the whole NBA world is shooken up. The whole NBA world is in a frenzy. The whole NBA world is like, oh my God, we can't compete with those guys. This isn't that situation. They traded Jordan Poole. I believe they traded a first-round pick and a second-round pick for him as well. I'm going to start off with saying, if we're talking about strictly business, the Golden State Warriors got an A+ for this trade. You got rid of a guy, Jordan Poole, who's young, who can be immature at times, who was a problem in the locker room. We all remember what happened between him and Draymond Green at the beginning of the season. He didn't have that best of year this year as well, ladies and gentlemen, especially in the playoffs. They owed about $100+ million for 4 years. And this new CBA that just broke, under this new tax bracket that you have to be in, the Golden State Warriors is one of those teams that was above the bracket. Now they put themselves in a situation where they can be 20 plus million below the bracket. So on a business standpoint, I give them an A plus. But if we're talking about competing for championships, competing to be competitive, yeah, and when I say competitive, see, if you're the Atlanta Hawks or the Sacramento Kings and you make it to the playoffs, that's acceptable to that franchise. But Golden State has set a standard of championships over the last couple of years. I don't believe this move put them in championship conversation. The reason why I say that is because you get a guy who's at the tail end of his career. And we know how Golden State want to play. They want to play fast. They want to run and gun. Are we sure Chris Paul want to run and gun? This is a guy that can't stay healthy. This is a guy that has had injury problems throughout his whole career. Papa, I see what you're saying in the comments, my brother, but this is facts, like Freddie Facts. That hammy isn't going anywhere. This is something that he's battled throughout his whole career. And shout out to everybody that's watching. Make sure you follow us, subscribe to us, like us, all those good things. We appreciate everything that you do for us. Because without you, we are nothing. But it's facts what I'm speaking about Chris Paul. And Chris Paul is one of the best point guards in this game. But he cannot stay healthy. Kyle, can you tell me how does this put them in a championship conversation?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, if they didn't make the move and came back with Jordan Poole, would they be in the championship conversation? Either way. I fully think that, I think the timing's kind of weird where Draymond opts out. He hasn't signed anywhere. He got into a Jordan Poole. They shipped Jordan Poole out. Like, was Draymond Green sitting back saying it's either him or me? It clearly they chose Draymond. I don't know. But I also think there's another move coming. I don't know for who, but if you're going to tell me you're going to, go into next season with a backcourt of Chris Paul, Steph Curry, it's a pretty small backcourt. You got Klay Thompson, who's been regressing defensively since the injuries. You have Kuminga, who is like the last young guy standing at this point. Well, besides Moody and a couple other guys, but now Kuminga is going to step up into a role that hopefully he's ready for. And that's like if they don't bring back Draymond. If they bring back Draymond, he's still going to be important to next year, but he has a little bit of a safety blanket with Draymond there. I've always said this offseason they needed size. They haven't done that yet. That's got to be the next move, and they also would have to get somebody else who can be a scorer to help Steph, especially in the playoffs, like you said, Freddie. That Lakers series, it was Steph Curry and a hope and a prayer that somebody else can make a shot. Jordan Poole had terrible shot selection, which I think kind of makes this move easier for the Warriors to make. But I just got to think there's another move that Dunleavy and Kerr are cooking up. Maybe one of these disgruntled guys who's on a team right now, maybe they could put together a package to get one of these guys, but they'd have to do something to extend their championship window. Curry's not getting any younger. Thompson, it's an old team. And this is a league look at Denver. Their core is young. They're not going anywhere. So they got to do something to combat that. Kings are coming up young. Memphis, young. Like the Warriors have to do something else.
Lakers young.
I didn't bring them up.
Bro, will you come on this show? I want you to be factual.
Factual. Their two most important players is a guy pushing 40 and a dude who's an old 30.
What's other than that? They're young.
Oh, well, okay. Too bad those are the two most important players, and if they aren't good, but the rest of the team can't carry those two.
But listen to this. I agree with everything you said. And our dude Dylan just put up a comment. He said CP3 to the Dubs is an A+ move. He helps stabilize the Warriors when they would usually get messy with Poole trash. I understand that. But their weakness was not the guard play. Their weakness was size. They got eaten up. Ladies and gentlemen, Nikola Jokic isn't going anywhere. You still have Anthony Davis. You still have Sabonis to deal with in the West. And granted, if you get to the finals, Lord forbid you have to meet up with a Joel Embiid. Lord forbid you have to deal with a Giannis.
Joel Embiid has to come out of the East first.
Well, I agree.
I wouldn't worry about seeing him in the finals anytime
I
soon.
agree. And then Boston just got a Kristaps Porzingis. They need size. And I just don't know where you said there's another move. I don't see where this other move come from. They still have to pay Draymond. Eventually, the money's going to run out for this offseason. Will, I'm going to get your input in this, brother. Do you believe this team can win a championship with Chris Paul?
No. I think that his best bet is to come off the bench and steer that second unit, get those guys straight, cut down on turnovers. I don't see Chris Paul starting. And I just think that it'd be his best bet to come off the bench and help that second unit, cut down on those turnovers. And you said it earlier, business sense is fine. But if you plan on starting him with that pace, which he's never been at that pace before as a player, it makes no sense. So I think he'll be your backup point guard, and they'll be looking for some size in free agency, if possible.
Well, I do want to clear one thing. I wasn't talking about like starting like at the outset, but you got to figure Chris Paul's going to be in closing lineups.
Oh yeah. It's definitely something that you could do. I just wouldn't be happy with Steph at the 2. I don't think he's big enough to play the 2. But I think primarily he'll come off the bench, make sure Kuminga and the boys cut down on those turnovers, and make the bench be more productive, and give them a chance to go out there and give Steph Curry and Klay Thompson for rest. And I do think they'll sign Draymond back too.
Hey, I surely hope they have a plan, because right now the plan is is blurry right now. Coach Dante, what's your reaction to this whole trade? Do you think it's going to work? What other move you think that they can add to improve this roster?
Well, I think it's going to work, and I think it works until the playoffs. I think it works until the end, but I don't know why we mentioned Joel Embiid. Sixers ain't no threat to nobody in no Eastern Conference. They're not making it to no Eastern Conference Finals, so I don't know why we mentioning them in the Eastern Conference. But other than that, I think it works only into the playoffs. And their guard play was really bad in that series versus LA. Bad shot selection repeatedly, and plus Jordan Poole never recovered after the punch that was taken. But a big man, they could really actually target in free agents. Clint Capella, he would give them some rim protection. Lopez is out there that they can use. He can also shoot the basketball from the outside. So those are some reliable options that they can get. Again, a lot of people don't know how good Steph Curry can move without the basketball. So he can play without the basketball, but he does need the basketball to be more effective. But he can move without the basketball, so he doesn't really actually need the basketball to be that effective. But he moves off screens very well. He dribbles the basketball really well, but his movement without the basketball is very well underestimated. And Draymond Green's ability to get these guys wide open, I think it only works I think it's going to only work throughout the regular season. They're going to be enough to get in the playoffs. And also, you got Andrew Wiggins in that starting lineup, so I think Draymond Green is a denominator. See if he can come back or not. If he does come back, it'll be interesting to see how the starting lineup is going to be, because you got Andrew Wiggins in that lineup, and you got Klay Thompson, but Chris Paul, I think he would need to sacrifice and come off the bench and lead that second unit when Stephen Curry goes up out of the game.
Coach, I want to just be honest with you. I don't see Chris Paul at this stage of his career saying, you know what, I'm going to come off the bench.
But you have to understand one thing. Every player comes against his own mortality. And I think now that he understands he can't stay healthy when you need him the most, coming off the bench would be his best bet. Because when you look at it at the end of the day, he's not playing 40, 30 minutes a game coming off the bench. It's more like 20 to 25. And in the long run, he'll save himself for the playoffs and be healthier to help that team.
But we've seen guys, for example, Russell Westbrook. He was not open to that idea at first. Sometimes you have to go through certain things to humble yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, I'm gonna project the lineup right here. I have the only way I believe this will work. It'll be this starting five, and I'll let you guys react to it. CP at the point, Steph at the 2, Clay at the 3, Wiggins at the 4, and Draymond at the 5. It's real small.
I just can't see that. I can't see that working.
But in order for them to continue to play the way that they want to play, that fast pace, that running gun, I believe that's the only lineup that they really have that's going to make it work.
And I can't see that working because when you play against, you said so yourself, when you play against a Lakers lineup, when you play against that Denver lineup, head over to the East, you play against Milwaukee, you play against Boston. Any team with size is going to be able to counteract anything you do from the lane of 3. So I just don't see that lineup.
That lineup will only work. That small ball lineup will only work if they're making shots.
Exactly. And when if they go on a cold streak, they done. Plus, even though he don't play that the best defense anyway, you really trust Curry at the 2?
Hey, surely.
I think Curry can play it. He can play it, but I don't think that's in the best interest of the team. I think him and Chris Paul can split. They can basically split. I don't think Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul and him can split, bringing the ball up the court and split running the offense. I would say it like that. But for that small ball lineup, that the word they gotta shoot the lights out pretty much every single night.
Yep.
That's probably going to be their closing lineup, though, if you think about it, because you don't want to like have CP3 sitting, putting in like Looney to go a little bit bigger. But I mean, like William and Coach said, like with that lineup, if they can't hit buckets,
one cold streak, that
lineup's going to get eaten alive against some of these teams defensively. I mean, I'll give the Lakers credit with this. The Lakers are a big lineup. Could you imagine AD, LeBron, and the only deterrent is Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins? I don't like that. I don't like that lineup against Jokic. I don't like it against, I mean, even like a Jaren Jackson Jr. could probably feast against that lineup.
Yep.
If Minnesota could figure it out with, Towns and Gobert, they would destroy that lineup. Like, that's putting even more pressure on Curry to shoot lights out from 3.
I don't know, you guys. I don't like the trade. I guess I'm just going to have to really see it on the court to really understand it. Because when the trade happened, I was like, what? I was like, what are we doing here? Like, what is Golden State thinking about? But when you think about it on the business standpoint, like I said, it's an A+.
Perfect sense.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But if we're talking about competing for championships, I got to give it a C-, you guys. I really do. That's just me being fair.
Yeah. That's why I think there's more to it. There's no way Steve Kerr's sitting there and looking at this roster right now is like, yeah, we can contend with Denver. There has to be something else in the works.
But they got to get a big from somewhere.
But
they got to. Clint Capella would be perfect for them. Yeah. They got to get a big from somewhere, a competent big to go in there and help them compete against these bigger lineups. They got to.
But Kyle, how can they afford them though? They still have to pay Draymond.
Yeah, but you'll have some guys who, once you get through the free agent market, some guys get snatched up the veteran minimum market. There'll be some guys left on that'll be like, I'll go to Golden State on.
But guys like Clint Capella ain't gonna be high. He ain't gonna be high.
Yeah, 10, 15 mil.
He ain't gonna be high at all. I think they can make it work.
10, 15 mil, if that.
Hey, and just let you know, Brook Lopez probably going to the Houston Rockets.
That would be no bad pickup for the Rockets.
A young piece, veteran piece. To kind of help mold those young pieces down there, the young talent that they have, because they are going to need some kind of veteran presence. I believe Brook Lopez is a great person for that. But let's move to the next topic. This was another trade that happened. We're going to talk about the Bradley Beal trade and where does that put the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to tell you, there's a report today that the Phoenix Suns are not expecting to trade DeAndre Ayton. And that's a horrible mistake.
Stupid.
I'm going to tell you why. You have no depth. Didn't you learn this year? You have no depth. Bradley Beal is a nice pickup. It's a really nice pickup. I would love to have him on my team. Devin Booker is one of the best shooting guards, if not the best shooting guard in the game today. We all know who Kevin freaking Durant is. He's a monster. He is a monster. Outside of that, who do you have? Who can you depend on? Campaign? Really? I mean, I don't know what Phoenix is thinking about. It kind of reminds me of the Lakers year, that first year they got Russ. They said, we're going to sign a whole bunch of minimum guys, Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Ariza, Wayne Ellington, Kent Bazemore, guys like that was past their prime, past their time, couldn't keep up with the young guys. Really, it just didn't make sense. I mean, who's going to be your point guard?
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but I do want to say one thing. You did see Bill run the point guard during the playoffs, and he did a decent job. So that's probably what they're thinking. I don't think it's a good idea to go through a whole season with him, with Booker at your point, but he did run it for the playoffs, and they ran it decently. So that might be the way that they're thinking. But
hey, Will, when I have a Devin Booker on my team, I'm not looking for him to get 10 assists, my brother.
Oh no. But again, I'm just saying unless because see, my thought process when you caught me off guard with this was the fact that they're not planning to trade Ayton. Because I thought once you get Beal, you trade Ayton to get some more pieces to go along with what you do and get some more depth, get you a point guard. You done throw me off track by saying they're not planning on trading Ayton. That's the thing that gets me. Ayton got to go. He has to go. He don't want to be there.
Hey, and Will, the best time to trade him was last night.
Yep. You right.
Get a whole bunch of draft picks. Fill out your roster with young guys. Get a veteran here and there. Then, okay, you have something. But and then, ladies and gentlemen, do we realize that they hired Frank Vogel as their head coach?
That's the thing that pissed me off, too.
Frank Vogel, don't get me wrong, Frank Vogel is a good coach. He's a good coach.
Yeah.
No, he's a good coach, but he's a defensive-minded coach.
That's why he all right.
Since when Bradley Beal is known to play defense?
None.
Do we expect Devin Booker to lock down defense?
No.
Heck, Kevin Durant's at the stage of his career. Hey, he ain't gonna play no lockdown defense. So I mean, what do you expect him to do? Who's going to guard who? I just don't like this team. I just don't like it, and I do know that this right now things can change in a couple of weeks. Their position on trading Aiden can change. Like Kyle said, somebody in the minimum contracts come available can change some things. But they have a lot of holes to fill. If I was them, I would probably try to go after Russell Westbrook.
They would. They got how many players on that roster? Freddie, like 6 right now?
They got a lot of holes.
They got like too many, man. They got to fill that roster out.
I'm just saying, Russ would not be bad for that team. We're being honest. We're talking about somebody who can facilitate, somebody that can move the needle, somebody that can attack the basket. I'm just saying.
Hey, Coach, isn't Mike Conley a free agent too?
Yup. But they rarely got the cap space. They top 4 players, which is Aiden, Beal, Kevin Durant, Booker. They are all making a combined $162 million. That's most of the team. A lot of the team cap space. That's way too much. And much to believe, since I think they targeted Monty Williams a lot. I think they targeted Monty Williams. I just believe what's led to the fire of Monty Williams because Aiden couldn't get along with Monty Williams. They didn't like the way Monty Williams was coaching Aiden. And I don't blame Monty Williams at all. I think they moved on. I think they treated Monty Williams wrong in that situation. And like I say, the team decided to go with Aiden instead of Monty Williams. I don't think Monty Williams was the problem.
Nope.
When you get outplayed by Jock Landale in the playoffs and you have to literally sit on the bench for your team the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, that's the player problem. That's not the coaching problem. That's the player problem right there. So it's going to be hard for them to get a point. They're not going to be able to get a big name point guard on this market because their top four is making a combined $162 million. That's the whole darn team cap space.
Cash.
Kyle, what's your reaction, sir?
I guess Phoenix fans got to get used to campaign running the point. I mean, I'm not a fan of that, but I'm not a fan of the team, so I don't care. But it's kind of funny to me that Ayton wanted out last year, gets signed to the offer sheet by Indiana. Phoenix had an out. They surprised everybody to like the 11th hour, brought him back. You could tell he wasn't expecting that. He didn't want to be in Phoenix. Then the organization's mad that Monty Williams tried to push Ayton to be better when he clearly didn't want that. And then now, after the season, they were going to explore trading Ayton, but now they don't want to trade him, and they fire Monty Williams. Yep. So they're hitching their wagon to a dude who's quit on the team twice, but now they think, I guess he's going to like Frank Vogel better, and he's going to play like a beast now. Hey, if Phoenix believes that, then maybe I'll look foolish in a few months, but I saw enough of Ayton against Jokic in the playoffs that I'm not running that back with him. I want no parts of that. And now you're going to tell me depth was the problem last year. Whatever little depth they had coming into this year, they sacrificed it for Bradley Beal, Beal as a third option. We don't know what that looks like because Beal's used to be the number one or number two at least. He's not a bad third option to have, but it's going to take some time for him to gel with Booker and Durant. Durant hasn't even been there that long necessarily if you think about it, but it seems like he and Booker are fine. And until I see how they fill out this roster, I can't get into this Phoenix group right now. I know a lot of people on ESPN and stuff love this team, but you can't just be 4 deep and win a title. Durant's not a young guy anymore. So if Durant goes down for a couple of weeks, what are you doing then? Beal has been injured past couple of years from time to time. That's a lot of pressure on those guys to stay healthy, like 75, 78 games this season to try to be a top seed. I don't know.
All right, Will.
I just think that it makes no sense to me to do this because you didn't address any need by getting Bradley Beal. None. You got no depth. You get no defense. You get nothing that your team needs in order to compete. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And like I say, that trade for Ayton at some point has got to come. Because they have, unless you go get some minimum exception guys to fill out that roster, which could be the 4 of us, there's what are you gonna do? It's a damn shame. It's just a damn shame.
Yeah, it's a league where it's a lot of duos with depth, and those are the teams that are winning. But I guess Phoenix hasn't learned that, and they still want to be top heavy and assume that they can just win it differently. Because every team that's in contention, Denver just won it. They had, Jokic and Murray, but Phoenix doesn't have KCP, Aaron Gordon, Porter Jr., guys like that. Boston, you have Tatum Brown. Now it's, Porzingis, Derek White, guys around them. Miami, it was Butler, Bam. Unfortunately, Hero was hurt. But, you have Hero. Martin came on the scene last year, but that's the way you have to do it in today's game. And Phoenix, for some reason, is stubborn in trying to realize that.
Hey, you know what, Kyle, you're going to show my team some love because you had LeBron, you had AD, you had Austin Reeves, you had Rui, you
I'll
had
give I'll
D'Angelo.
give LA credit. Yes, I'll give
Okay.
LA credit.
D'Angelo,
Hey,
I mean, you were with me
you
until
bragging on
then.
D'Angelo?
hey, D'Angelo was good before the playoffs. That's all I can say. Playoff time, he was a whole nother monster. I don't want to get into that right now.
You don't want to re-sign him.
Heck, now you don't want to resign him.
At this point, he might be our best option. I don't know who else available. I mean, unless we can get Fred VanVleet, and I love that. I'll be all for that.
He'd be a good pick for y'all too.
But I don't know what the Lakers doing. I mean, I love the guy they drafted last night. I mean, both of them was really solid players, but I'm like, man, like we sure could have traded that for some point guard.
Right.
Somebody. I mean, what are y'all doing, Lakers?
Right.
Like, yo, we're trying to win now. But honestly, it looked like we're focusing more on the future. It seemed like they're not in the win mode now mode, because when they was in win now mode, they was going after guys like Russ. And I think that when they seen how Russ was a total disaster, they said, okay, it's time to get younger. It's time to start focusing on the future. And now we're changing.
They don't want to be like Cleveland when LeBron left.
Yeah.
Remember that squad?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the
We
old
remember that
guys and
squad.
Kyrie. Yeah, they don't want to be
Remember
like
that
that.
squad.
Dylan, I would love for us to get Rondo. I'm going to tell y'all this now, ladies and gentlemen. If we got Rajon Rondo, we will see the best Anthony Davis. We have not seen the best version of AD since Rajon Rondo has left the league. If we got Rondo, he would mandate, he would expect, he would push, he would Anthony Davis to get the best version of him.
And Rondo, another player that work out well for you guys because he ain't got to score to be effective.
Right.
Hey, and that was the only positive about if Chris Paul came to us, that he was going to get the best version out of AD. That was it. That was it. Could you imagine the pick and roll between them two? Good Lord Almighty. Woo.
Could you imagine the games when they're both in street clothes too?
Yeah, it would have been bad. Coach Dante, what's your reaction to this whole Phoenix Suns team? Do you think they have enough, or what's your reaction?
Well, I don't think they have enough. The only clear winner in this deal that they made was Bradley Beal because he got the hell out of Washington. That was the only true winner of the deal because he wanted out. He had the Washington Wizards' hands tied up by having that no trade clause and forcing his way out. So he just happy to be a part of a playoff contending team. That's all he just happy to be a part of. So that's the only true winner of this deal. But just like I said, they're not gonna go too far. They'll make the playoffs. It's gonna be the same fate that they suffered last year, pretty much. It's 162 mil. They already not trading Nate. That's a lot. That's a lot between your four superstars. They pushed Monty Williams up out the door when it ain't even his fault. When he tried to push Aiden become the best, he clearly showed you he didn't really care. He didn't really want to be a part of that. He really actually wanted to go to Indiana. He didn't want them to match. He didn't want them to match the offer sheet happily. Phoenix Suns did it, but other than that, Aiden just basically checked out. And when your bench player, Jock Landale, come in and play better than you, and throughout in those two games in Phoenix, the closeout game and the game that they lost in Phoenix, that's saying something about his softness, his mental toughness, and his motivation to go out there and compete and not handling pressure because he couldn't handle the pressure that the coaches and the players were putting on him. So pressure appeared to be too much. But other than that, I'm just say the 162 mil. That's the counterpunch of that. All four of their star players is making a combined $162 million. That's taking up the whole salary cap of that basketball team. So they cannot make too many big moves.
Kyle.
Yeah,
Hold on, Kyle.
Go ahead.
You know where I'm going with this. I've been waiting for this topic all night long.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, the Boston Celtics was a part of a trade over this past week. And I didn't like it. And I still don't like it.
I wouldn't expect the Lakers guy to like it, but anyway.
And
love
I
the trade.
understand it.
I love the trade, to be truthful.
But I feel bad
Thank
for
you, Will.
Boston fans. I really
I love that
do.
trade.
But I'm going to enjoy it because this man right next to me has talked about a guy who cannot stay healthy, and Anthony Davis.
Oh, Lord.
Now it's my turn.
Uh-oh.
Now I get the chance
Let me put myself
to
on
say
mute.
those jokes.
Go ahead, Freddie. Let's go.
They traded Marcus Smart
Mm-hmm.
to Memphis.
Yep.
And I will say, Brad Stevens is showing that he's a great GM. He was able to get the draft picks for him, and he got Porzingis out of that.
Yep.
Phenomenal. I hate that Memphis lost Tyus Jones because I believe that he was a guy that could fill in for Ja any moment. Put up some big numbers, help them win. I thought that was a big loss,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought it was a big loss for Boston losing Marcus Smart. He was the dog. He was the heart and soul of Boston. He was the toughness. I mean, I know there's no player that's untouchable, but I believe Marcus Smart's one of those guys that you try to hold on to dear life without getting rid of. Because I want that brother on my team. I don't want to play against him.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I counteract you with this. Yes, Marcus Smart was the heart and soul of that team. He was a veteran that everybody listened to. But at some point, in order to get Tatum and Brown in those leadership positions, in those leadership roles, he had to go. And he goes to a team as a veteran presence that can benefit. He's been to the finals. He knows what it's like. So he can help the Grizzlies out. And in turn with Boston, it takes the leadership role on Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown and go from there. Plus, you get a very good big with Porzingis to go with Robert Williams. Now, he ain't the healthiest guy, but he turns around in the playoffs. So I think it's a great move on both parts. And for the Wizards, you're just rebuilding anyway. So I think it's a great trade for all three involved. I get what you're saying about Marcus Smart being a heart and soul of that team, but if you want Jason Tatum, if you want Jaylen Brown to be leaders, at some point he had to go.
I understand that, Will. And I definitely agree with you. But who's going to be the tough guy now? Who's going to be the guy that's not afraid to go check the opposing player? Who's going to be the player that can go to Jason Tatum and say, hey, yo, I need you to play better? Who's going to be the guy that's not afraid to fall on the ground, dive for loose balls, do the dirty work? I'm going to tell you this, and then Porzingis, I understand what he's going to bring to this team. I understand it 100%. He brings spacing. He's another guy that we can put in the post. He's a guy that can block shots. I know what he brings. Porzingis, when healthy, is a great player. But just like this man next to me telling about AD, availability.
Kyle, he coming for you, Kyle.
Availability.
Now, look, Freddie. All right. So if I asked you to guess between Porzingis and Marcus Smart, who played more games last season, who would you say?
I'd probably say Porzingis. He played probably the most games of his career last year, 65.
Yeah, Marcus Smart played 61. The problem is the way Marcus Smart plays. He takes on bigger guys in the post. He's laying his body out. The amount of injuries he plays through year in and year out, you have to wonder once he hits 30, like how many more years can he really take that kind of punishment? Don't get me wrong. I was a big Marcus Smart fan. It was tough to see him go. But like William said, Brad Stevens saw an opportunity to get Porzingis. He tried to trade Brogdon, so he didn't really want to send Marcus Smart out. The Clippers backed out of that because they got scared. And I guess it's understandable. He has the forearm issue. Maybe they didn't like the whatever. But after that, who else would you trade that could get you a Porzingis type? It had to be Marcus Smart. You're not trading one of the Jays. I know Grant Williams, you're not going to sign and trade him because you're not going to get Porzingis in a deal like that. So Brad Stevens had to make the tough decision and send Marcus Smart out. Also, like Williams said, it's a trade that works for everybody. Washington is, doing it the right way. They're rebuilding. They're completely tearing it down. There's going to be a lot of nights when you look at a box score in Washington and Jordan Poole's going to have 35 points on like 50 shots, and you'll be like, all right, that's what Washington's doing now.
Plus, you can make an argument that. I mean to cut you off, Kyle, but you can also make a an argument that White made him expendable to a degree.
Exactly. Yep.
To a degree.
Yeah, because a lot of people say if you look at the metrics, Marcus Smart took a step back defensively from his Defensive Player of the Year season, and Derek White took a step up. Derek White's another guy who can dive on the floor. I have to see if the guy they drafted last night, if he has any part of the rotation, that's a guy that likes to dive on the floor and play kind of Marcus Smart ball in a bigger body. So, Marcus Smart's intangibles, it might be tough to replace that early on in the season, but I think by the season end, I think they'll be a better team for it. Marcus Smart fills the biggest need Memphis had. Just an adult in the room. That's what they needed. Marcus Smart can go into that locker room. If John Morant's getting out of line, he has no problem telling them about it. I don't think anybody else on that team can say a word to John Morant.
Smart can make all this yapping that the Grizzlies like to do. He can make all that stop.
Yep. Because
he's a verified vet. He can make all that stop. You got Steven Adams coming back, so he's gonna make the Grizzlies. Better.
Hold on, what is 15 minutes remaining? I mean, we've been waiting for Philadelphia to do something. We've been waiting for what did Philadelphia do yesterday, Key? I'm still waiting.
I agree with Coach Dante. I don't think Philly does anything. I agree with Coach Dante. I don't think Philly does anything. Ain't no threatening things. I agree with Coach Dante on that.
I don't think they do a doggone thing neither.
Me neither.
Yeah, talking about 15 minutes. Let me speak on
Jack Tunney in the WWE. Come on now.
Joel Embiid can't even get 15 minutes out the second round.
Nope.
Exactly.
No,
just playing, Keith. Let me say this about Marcus Smart before I give it to Coach Dante before we wrap it up. Kyle, you're absolutely right. To me, Memphis won the trade. I believe Memphis won the trade because you brought in a guy. Oh boy, here comes Gene. They're like a magnet. They're like magnets. You say something about them, then they stick. They come to stick. They come to stick. They like geez Louise. But I believe Marcus Smart can come in and be that veteran presence. He's going to start. He's going to run the offense. He's going to keep things afloat. He's a guy that's going to, like you said, we all see what Memphis players do. Hey, brother, we might be trash, but we went further than you this year. Just saying. Just saying, Gene. I know that hurt you, brother. I know that hurt you really, really bad.
And LeBron's foot was broken, Gene. Remember that.
It was broken. If it was not broken, oh, the good God Almighty, what we would have done. Good God Almighty, what we would have done. I'm just being honest. Coach, take it from there, bro, because they talking about a team that haven't done it in 47 years, and we go, Coach.
Again, I'll say, man,
you got bounced in the second round. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Second round. Nope. Everybody expected y'all to go to the finals over us. Nobody expected us to go to the Western Conference Finals. Stop it.
See, how you gonna trust any team with Doc Rivers as your coach?
This is what teams. This is what fans of that root for teams that have not done nothing in their career, that have not done nothing in their existence, that have not done anything since they've been living. This is what they talk about. Oh, we didn't get swept like y'all.
Wait a minute. At least we won 3 games. What? At least we won 3 games.
See, that's what they value themselves on. That's what makes them win good.
I'm just gonna say, y'all got swept in the conference finals. It's like y'all weren't even there.
Hey,
that's just the Philly side of it. I mean, you know.
But we was there.
But they made it. They weren't supposed to make it to the Western Conference Finals.
We sure wasn't.
They weren't supposed to be that team.
Hey, guess what, Kyle? Will Gene is the same guy that said we wasn't going to make the playoffs. Oh, he wasn't going to win the first round. Wasn't going to win this. We've been proving him wrong all year long. And people on this network called me crazy. And I said that exactly the same thing was going to happen. I came wrong on one thing. I said that we were going to play Boston in the finals. And good God Almighty, how close we was.
The Lakers proved me right. I was happy. They proved me right. They got all the way to Denver. No one picked Denver. Everybody just overlooked Denver. Ain't nobody poor little Denver. Poor little tink tink. They ain't gonna do nothing against the Lakers. And then look what happened. They went out there and beat them. So they did exactly what I thought they was gonna do. Get there, get everybody, all you Lakers fans, all hyped up and ready to go. And then what happens? Y'all lost. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
But guess what, Will? I'm gonna tell you this. Remember, 25-8.
I'm on 25-8. Y'all did good.
Do you know what 25-8 represent? Do any of you guys know what that represent?
I know sometime in the past, probably.
You know, a long time ago.
That's the record of the Lakers versus Nuggets in the playoffs. Okay, so
when it came down to it,
but hey, my best player
came up quick, didn't it?
Will, my best player had a broken foot. He had a torn tendon in his foot. And then
Come on, man.
That's facts. That's facts.
Come on, man.
That's facts.
He had 38 on the broken
this
foot.
Is Freddie Facts.
38 on the broken foot, huh?
Hey,
look. Hold on. This is the Sports Empire Network. Correct me if I'm wrong. We don't play no excuses around here.
Hey,
we don't play no excuses. My Bulls suck, and I admit they suck. Ain't no excuses around here, bro.
I gotta ask. I'm gonna ask Coach Dante a question. Coach, if Jokic had a broken foot and it was limited, don't that cause him not to be the same player he would be with a healthy foot?
I'm not gonna make no excuses for him.
No. That wasn't the question, Coach. That wasn't the question.
I have not seen a report about LeBron with a broken foot.
He had a torn tendon. You know what a torn tendon is, Kyle? If he would have went one more layer, it would have been a torn Achilles.
If they would have won, the broken foot wouldn't even matter. If they would have won,
exactly. It wouldn't even got brought up.
You know what?
Brought up.
Coach Dante, it would have. It would have. You know why?
No,
they would have said, "Dang, this man on a torn tendon is still playing basketball." But Key, what I'm trying to tell you is, I'm trying to tell you. See, this is what y'all do. I'm not making an excuse. And see, Key said, "Oh, it's a tendon." Trying to make it look a tendon isn't a big injury. It's
also different from a broken foot.
Exactly. Not even the same injury.
Kyle, if we're being honest, I'd rather have a broken foot than a torn tendon. You know why? Because if you get past it, the next level is a torn Achilles, and we're talking about career ending. Career ending. This dude, there was reports that Lakers management was afraid of him playing basketball.
But Freddie, understand this, hurt or not, these fans expect you to go out there and perform.
Hold on, Will. Gene, go. Hold on, Will. Hold on. Gene, this show's called Freddie Facts. You don't believe anything I'm saying? You need to go look it up because I'm telling you nothing but the facts. This is facts.
But you talking about the Lakers organization is scared of him playing. LeBron is the Lakers organization.
Exactly.
No, he's not.
Calling the shots.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Who the face of the Lakers did if it ain't LeBron?
He's not. If he was calling the shots, Kyrie Irving being a purple and gold right now, would he?
And that would be another sign of him being a bad GM.
Exactly. Just to prove my point yet again that he's not running the organization.
He the face of it, though.
Of course. Yeah, but he's the best player. He's the best player. Right. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Tendon/broken foot.
Hey,
okay.
I'd rather have the broken foot.
Bottom line is, though, y'all ain't make it.
Hey, they was afraid of this man playing because he could have had a career-ending injury. So I don't care what Gene, Key, or whoever else in the comments want to talk.
Damn, Gene, that's wrong, man. That's wrong, Gene.
Coach Dante, I forgot what we was talking about. Key, how many more minutes we
We
have?
about to talk about the baby. We was on that Memphis Grizzlies and Rockets.
See, you know what's crazy? We wouldn't have no Laker talk until Gene came into the chat. We didn't have no Laker talk this whole show. All right, Coach. What's your reaction on that?
Like I said, I think both teams won in this deal, man. The biggest if is Porzingis if he can stay on the floor, which is he did quite a bit last year. He had played in 65 games, so he was pretty durable. Averaged 23 points per game, 8 rebounds last year. So that gives Boston another 20-point per game score. You still have Derek White, who can play really good defense. I think Boston, I don't think the point guard situation is going to hurt them. I think they can get a point guard. They can actually get a point guard. I think they're still going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals contention. I think they're still going to be the same team. Memphis, the one on the loss, I think Tyus Jones. He was the quarterback of that offense. He held the offense down when Ja Morant was out. They actually got a winning record without Ja Morant and with Tyus Jones being the point guard. Not saying they're going to win. They can win a championship without Ja Morant. They can win games without him. But Marcus Smart do bring some leadership of that team. He do bring a pit bull mentality. I like the move for both teams. The only thing about it, I think Tyus Jones is gonna probably be a loss. Be a loss. Now they don't have a really legit point guard. Outside, they don't have a legit point guard. They got Tyus Jones on the free agent block. They miss Ja Morant for 25 games. Who's going to take that point guard role? That's the only question about Memphis.
And I love Tyus Jones. A lot of non-basketball fans might not know him, but I love Tyus Jones. Him and Jordan Poole, they're gonna be big. They're gonna be big for the Wizards.
Tyus Jones got the best turnover to assist ratio in the league.
Yep. And like I said, a lot of non-basketball fans don't know him.
Hey, Kyle. Not Kyle. Gene, I see you put the trash can emojis and all that up. My brother, if you calling anything trash, it's your trash team. Philadelphia. Matter of fact, Philadelphia sports, period. It's been a horrible year for you guys.
Hold up now.
It has. It's been a horrible year.
Hold on. We can't disrespect the Eagles like that. Hold up now.
What did they do?
They just went to the Super Bowl.
And what did they do? What did they do in the Super Bowl?
They just went to the Super Bowl.
Wait, you just gave the Lakers credit for getting swept in the conference finals. They lost in the Super Bowl to Patrick Mahomes.
Kyle, listen, I'm doing the same thing Gene do to me. I'm matching his energy. I'm not wound up, Gene. Oh, it's only Coach Dante has seen me wound up. And if I'm wound up, I'm more like this when I'm wound up. I'm nowhere near that. So I'm not wound up.
He said 38-30.
I'm telling y'all, man.
38-3 must like 38-3 must be my regular me beating you in debates.
Oh.
All right, you guys. This was another great episode of Freddie Facts. Because if not, Key's gonna work the chat and say 3 minutes, Freddie. 3 minutes, Freddie. I want to thank Kyle for coming on.
We can't talk about Cap real quick,
man. Hey, Key gonna get that gun and she gonna shoot me, man. She got us on a leash, brother. She got us on a leash. I'm gonna keep that for the next episode for sure. Cool, next week. Cool. See, look at 2 minutes ago. Look at it 2 minutes ago. But hey, you guys, this was another great episode of Freddie Facts. This is a show where Freddie gives you nothing but the facts, and I bring on a guest every show I do to give them the facts, to teach them a few things, a few lessons in life as well.
You should change it to facts according to Freddie.
It's Freddie Facts. I want to thank my brother Kyle for coming on. My brother, it's always a pleasure debating sports with you. Coach Dante, the hardest working man in the business. Shout out to Coach Dante, man. Last night he did a 4-hour stream covering the draft. This man didn't get up out of his chair. Hey, this man worked. I think he did get up out of his chair to get him a little snack. But other than that, he's putting in that work. He was grinded. And I mean, hey, just shout out to you, my brother. Brought in some big numbers for the network. Much love to you. Anytime I can teach, it's been a while. It's been a while since I was able to teach William. And my brothers, it felt so good to educate you. And I see that you
ain't-
agree with me a
ain't
lot of the
teach-
things that I
You
said
ain't
today.
teach me nothing today.
Hey, I see you agree with a lot of things that I said.
Because it made sense. Not because it was you.
Because it's Freddie Facts. Everything that I say makes sense.
It's good to be here, man. Good to conversate with you again.
Yes, sir. But until next time, you guys, we are out of here.
Later.
Check out Top of the Key right after this. Peace.
Later.